minus,
Since it was Nokia today, reset has to be HTC, then reset is iPhone, then
so much is minus. We're good to go. Where am minus? Go for it.
I'm just fed up.
But anyway, pamninga makuwirirana yeah, you just put the word kuwirirana. But name kuwirirana baya. Name chudzana chokwadi, and you're not hiding anything because you've been there, done that.
You know what? It throws me back to say, so you have to go for a trial period, then you come out better. That's what you're saying, V. That's what you're saying. Go for a trial period, discover exactly where you are. Because I had a conversation with someone about this, just even last night, about that. Is that marriage is working, and they come back and say, you think the person you're with is the one, then you discover they're not the one, and that's where the work part comes into it, trying to make them the one. Okay, I don't know if the mic picked up what the producer was saying, but he basically said that it's from both of you. You have to put in the effort, to be the one. Yeah, someone from Oshanda, both of you, at that point. If
and then Magango ku jairira umwachwana. That jairirana word, you understand? Just throws everything totally out of the mix.
Okay, that was a nice interlude. A nice and long interlude.
It was
long. Welcome. How are you doing?
I'm good. No, it was a nice interlude because it's going to bring in what we're going to talk about today.
No, what you are going to talk about.
No, we are. You know, because
you should have given me the best mic because I'm not going to say anything today.
No, my guy, you have to say something.
Today.
Why are you tired?
I was talking with someone until about 2 a.m.
Yeah, but you need to plan, bruh.
Plan what?
You know that we're having a podcast today.
Yes, I was getting feedback.
Oh, from what? From the previous ones?
Yes.
But you do know, you guys rock up at this time. I was in a shareholders meeting.
Which you had to pull yourself out of.
Exactly.
Today's topic is management part 2. Last week I tried my best to put my argument across and introduce this topic about management, which
got shattered during the week.
Not really. Got managed. I actually got managed quite a lot. And I think you asked a couple guys and they were pretty happy getting managed. What level of management you
that'll
are.
be my intro today.
You all want to be shareholders, but not all of us can be shareholders. We have to work up the ladder to get to the point of being a shareholder. Anyway, over to you. I'm not saying anything today. Absolutely nothing at all.
Why are you on strike?
Nah, I've been managed.
Oh, yeah, you've been managed good, bro.
Yes, I have.
You've been managed. You know what? When I was thinking about this past week, Ever realize that when you use the words kind of and it's like you are really you had a loss of words.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
ETC.
Yeah. E.g. And Lokuzi. Anyway, we digress. So you when I was thinking about this past week, the angle that I would like us to look at it from is almost a culmination, or not culmination, but putting together almost everything we discussed from the first podcast.
You're not doing a closing show, are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm just trying to put it in such a way that you begin to think as well, because last week you were just talking about actually thinking about it. You were trying to be, what's the word that Chris loves using? You were trying to be logical about it, but you got schooled this past week. Bro, you got a PhD.
I love you too, man. I
love you too. No, today is the day I wish we had video, because last week you left me and I was like, snap. I couldn't even listen to the recording.
So you didn't listen to it?
I couldn't, because I knew that I was just fumbling and I had no clue what was going on. Because you just,
I thought it was quite eloquent.
You thought, but look at you now. Look at me now.
The mic is yours today.
You're actually speechless, huh?
Yes, I am.
This is the first time since we started.
Yes, I am.
Huh?
I'm fumbling with my
from
water.
Eastleigh there. From Eastleigh to here. This is the first time.
I'm fumbling with my water. You can see that, right?
Bruh, it's not just the water you're fumbling with. If people knew. Anyway, so what?
If I knew back then, what I know now.
My guy, if we knew. That here's the story.
We should have a soundtrack for all our themes.
Yeah, but you know what? If we knew, don't worry, I'm not digressing. If we knew now if we knew then what we know now, I think would be different individuals, but the circumstances in which we are assuming states of thriving would not be the same. We needed to go through what we went through to get to where we are now to be the better person.
Yeah, that's what they said as well.
I think I mentioned in the first interlude. Yeah. We're all coming from different perspectives. I actually had that discussion.
Yeah?
I did. And it was one of those, how we are now would not have been the same back then.
Yeah.
Would be wiser to make sure that we're not where we are now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that's the thing. Anyway, we're talking about management. And
your take on it.
Yeah, my take on management is, before I started, I met a friend of mine last week, in fact, after the recording. And he says, where are you coming from? I said, no, I'm just coming from recording. What are you talking about? I said, we're talking about management. And then I explained management to him, and I'm explaining to the audience now. And I said, management in relation to the fourth ship, to the four ships, and the levels of management in relation to that. And then he goes, you know, in the vernacular that
it's a beautiful expression. Yes, it is.
He goes, let me be managed. It's okay. I'm fine. Let me be managed. And I was like, yo. And he goes, no. I want to be managed. And I was like, I said, you know what? You are so right. And he just confirmed a thought pattern that I had, a train of thought that I had come prepared with last week. And with the backdoor that you used last week, I couldn't even present it. So I'm going to present it
So
today.
I beat you last week.
Hey, you, hands down.
Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, I now retire. Thank you very much.
And he was like, no, let me be managed.
So emphatically.
He was, let me be managed. And his manager was sitting right there.
You are kidding.
Smiling from ear to ear. He goes, let me be managed. And he looked at the manager, goes, manage me. And I was like, yo, man. But anyway, let me start by defining certain stuff. I love definition because definition brings about articulation. Management is the art or the act of managing, the conducting or supervising of something. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, today Chris was quiet because the definitions are hitting him hard. And then it defines managing as to act or direct with a degree of skill. God, when I went through this, I was like, oh, really? I don't need to say anything. I just read other definitions. You know, to handle or direct with a degree of skill.
Of skill.
Yeah. You know, to exercise executive, administrative, and supervisory direction.
There you go.
To treat with care. Then it says to make and keep. Hey, to make and keep.
Preaching to
Kumba.
Yeah.
Nikuchengeta. Hey? Hanzi unochengeta. Hanzi unochengera. Cha unochengeta.
Oh, you're ready today.
When I heard that, hanzi unochengera. Cha unochengeta. Whoo! To translate, it means you become obsessive with something that you possess. Bruh! I gotta stand there, bro.
So if you're on a video, you can picture a pastor standing up and saying, can I get a name?
To make and keep. And then it says to make and keep compliant. This is managing, boss. This is to make and keep compliant. To comply with what? The given rules, Baba. And what are those given rules? Yeah. And it says to direct the professional career of. Then it says to succeed in accomplishing.
Oh my, okay.
Then it says to work upon or try to alter for a purpose.
Okay, I like that one. Yeah.
To work upon and try to alter for a purpose.
I think you mentioned it once when you said to me things we do.
There's always a
Remember that?
purpose. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, there's always a purpose. Things are defined by purpose.
To alter.
To alter. Unochengeta cha unochengera baba. You become obsessive with what you possess. boss. Right. Okay. So let me start. And for those that have been following our podcast, there's certain things that I'm going to touch on podcasts we have shared on or just discussed on. I won't even say shared. Just talked and bantered upon for weeks. Some of the stuff is just going to come on and people will be like, okay, right. This is me now, okay? This is me. We're not going to talk about forever in Chris's whole defeatist term, which I can see today is not working because he's now gravitating to my definition. Woo, it's been a long time. What are we on now? Episode 14.
Yeah, this will be 14.
And now it's clicking to you that what I said in episode 1 it was so true. Woo!
In the immortal words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back.
In season 8.
Yeah, in season 8.
But anyway, right. So I had said once upon a time that my definition of love is an assurance of affection. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to have that assurance of affection. And it comes from a place where you just want to be in a place of security.
Yeah.
You want to be at a place of where you're allowed to feel free to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And you broke it down last week when you're talking about the different levels of management. There's lower management, middle management, upper management, and shareholding.
Yes.
Ideally, for you to find a place of security and enjoy being vulnerable, you're in a place of shareholding.
Yes.
Because in shareholding, what shareholding does, it allows you to always be in a state of inspiration and celebration.
Yes.
All the time. I'm just trying to repeat phrases that I used to say. I said in previous podcasts that you'd cut me up on.
Yes.
You're always in a state of
I'm listening to you today.
Yeah, I wish there was a video. You're looking so, a whipped child. Where the child say, I won't do it again. But anyway, so you're always in a state of perpetual inspiration.
Yes.
And a perpetual celebration. And all that it's doing is it's allowing you to be the better version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Shareholders are just there to make sure that the entity, company, organism is functioning at its fullest capacity.
Yes.
Regardless of pitfalls and peaks and whatever it is, you're always functioning at your fullest. Now, how I want to bring in this topic of management is when because it's a guy podcast, we'll deal with what's the main thing is when you decide to be with a specific other, a significant other on a permanent level, e.g., i.e., marriage.
Yeah.
Let's use marriage for now, or a committed relationship.
Uh-huh.
The ideal is to be in a place of shareholding.
Yes.
Immediately, you are in a place where you always find security, and you're always in a place of vulnerability, so that you are inspired to do something more, so that after you do that, you are then celebrated for having accomplished it.
Yes.
And when you are celebrated, you are then inspired to do something else, and then the cycle is always perpetual. There's no finality. Hey, I'm crushing all the things that you used to say way back.
It's your mic today. It's your mic today.
And in that flow, in that rolling stone that gathers no moss, you keep on going. It's perpetual, like the trip to Cape Town.
Okay.
There's always the movement.
Okay.
There's always an understanding of we are going somewhere, and you're feeding off each other.
Okay.
Those jelly babies are just being fed, my guy. Those jelly babies are just being fed, and you keep on going. And once in a while, you can stop at a shop and get a bow tie, and sometimes you just get an apple. Because an apple a day keeps a doctor away. And you and you keep on going, and you keep on rolling, you keep on flowing. And Everybody ideally wants to be in shareholding. And then remember we discussed the issue of when the ball is dropped.
Yes.
And that ball is dropped when there's familiarity, kujairirana.
Yes.
And once that happens and he feels as though they're being taken for granted, akutanga kujairirwa, a ball is dropped. And so what happens is the shareholder feels as though you're being taken for a ride, and you're no longer effective in this shareholding.
Okay.
And so what happens, there are two things that happen at the same time. Number one, your co-shareholder, because you're now 50-50, yeah?
Yeah.
You no longer see them as a shareholder. You drop them.
Okay.
In your perspective of who they are. They're no longer shareholders. They are now maybe upper management.
Okay.
Yeah, you drop them.
Okay.
At the same token, with them being funny and dropping the ball and not paying attention to your communication. Remember we spoke about this some podcasts ago, that we do communicate.
Yes.
But those that listen are not paying attention. They hear you, but they don't listen to you.
Yes.
So when you do communicate and they don't react or they don't adapt to what you have said, they within themselves have dropped the ball. So they within themselves drop from shareholding to upper management.
Okay.
So it happens concurrently. You see they've dropped and they see they've dropped.
Okay.
But because of the element of kujairirana, they'll assume that they have the same perks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have the same perks. That's the assumption. They have the same perks. But, and referring to the podcast that we did, I forget, when we talked about the walls.
Yes.
Yeah, the walls are being built.
Yes.
But they're assuming they still have the same perks.
Yes.
They're still enjoying the same view that you're enjoying. But, no, they've dropped down a notch.
Okay.
Yeah, we're together.
I'll put together on that one. Yeah.
They continue dropping the ball because they assume you are not going to go anywhere. This is your company.
So you won't leave it.
You won't leave it. You're not going anywhere.
All right. And they'll continue to drop the ball.
They'll continue dropping the ball because they assume you're not going to leave anywhere because there are too many legalities binding you to this entity.
You thought about this, haven't you?
Okay, I've been thinking about it for the past 2 weeks from the moment you mentioned it, but I couldn't bring it up last week because you just went on a tangent.
I didn't go on a tangent. I eloquently expressed my viewpoint.
Logically. And this week he got schooled, boss. So when
I actually like that. They still think they've got the same perks, but they're on a lower level.
They're on a lower level of management. Okay. Now, because I have reduced how I see them, I am not going to be willing to be vulnerable to them.
Okay.
But because they've dropped the ball and they've become familiar with me, they haven't understood just how much I've been affected internally. You know what I mean? And because they haven't paid attention, they continue doing what they're doing. They continue just dropping the ball, assuming I'm not going to go anywhere. Then I drop them from upper management to middle management. They still assume they've got the perks of shareholding. Remember when I talked about the trip to Cape Town and how we're driving to Cape Town? I didn't change the car. I didn't change my budget. I didn't change where I'm stopping. So because they're seeing these things on a mental level.
Yeah, that is continuous.
They're assuming that everything is functioning fine, but you internally.
You've changed.
You've changed. Then you drop them from middle management to lower management. They still assume they've got the perks. Yeah? And then when you have had enough, we discussed this 2 podcasts ago, about drop the bag. Once they get to lower management, where all they are doing is they just presence of proximity of presence is not evidence of existence.
You could actually not be there.
Yeah.
Totally.
Totally.
Zoned out.
Yeah.
So you can be in a relationship 100% visible there, but you're not there.
You're not there mentally because they're now at lower management. They're no longer with you.
That sounds so cruel.
It's the reality. I'm just making it blunt. It's the reality. And they don't notice it. And because
so you don't notice it because of what? Your own egotistical sort of like...
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, that logical brain is still trying to fight to come back out today. Yeah, your ego, you're saying, he's not going out. Kuna kwa aruke endao.
Anoenda kupi.
Anoenda kupi.
Tineva anatesi.
That's it. Yeah. After all, I've given him 2 children.
Where can he go?
Where can he go? Where can he go? After all, we bought a house. Where is he going to go?
So you're advocating for people to go?
No, I'm not advocating that. I'm expressing a reality.
Okay.
Yeah, people don't talk about it, but it's there, and I just want to let people know that it's there and it's happening. And so, once they're in lower management, that's when the ships kick in.
Because there's a deficit.
There we go.
Yeah, there's a budget deficit.
Woo, my guy.
And this investor comes in with a truckload of money.
My
promises, skill sets, ability, new management.
Everything.
Yeah. So it revamps everything. But this shareholder is still thinking. This person they're still thinking they're shareholders. Yeah.
They still think you're on the same page.
Yeah.
No.
Company's been overtaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what happens is now when she's now at lower management, a ship arises. And that ship, depending on how you relate, jumps from 1 all the way through to 4. Because they're no longer ship number 1. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
They're no longer ship number 2. They're no longer
number 1
3.
has been taken already by that one who dropped from shareholding.
Yeah, because the more she drops from shareholding to middle management to upper management, middle management, lower management, they themselves become from ship 4, 3, 2, 1. So the lower, the less effective she is to you in shareholding, the more irrelevant she becomes to you in terms of how you release yourself to them. Then we get to the situation when we're talking about the issue of dropping the bag, how you no longer are feeling secure in being vulnerable to her.
Yes.
And when you're no longer being secure to being vulnerable to her, then you do the silly stuff. So when the 4th ship arises, it was inevitable because she was being silly. Make sense?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because she was being silly. Mm-hmm. And so when the 4th ship arises, you are now allowed to feel secure and vulnerable. And then you start your cycle again of inspiration and celebration because everybody wants to be a better version of themselves.
So this one was slipping down the
management ladder.
Yeah, the corporate ladder. Why aren't they trying to be the better version of themselves?
That's where we talked about the thing of familiarity and kujairirana. Remember you asked me once, how does one get back to being in the front seat?
You never really said it though.
They never do get back to the front seat.
Yeah, that was the conclusion.
Yeah, right? At the end of the podcast, we realized they never do get back to the front seat.
I got a couple of comments where people say that you can though.
Well, they can try.
And stop the car.
No, I'm not going to stop the car.
And let them try and get in the front.
I'm not going to stop the car.
So it's employing on you to open up in a part of you to be, how do I say it? Show empathy?
Yeah, but here's the story now.
For better and for worse? In sickness and in health?
Here's the deal.
Rich or poor?
Here's the deal. You need to try and understand. We talked about this, about the yardstick protocol.
Yeah.
And the empty nest setup and the suddenly dilemma.
Yes.
A situation arises when you realize where you should be and where you are, and you realize where you should be was dependent upon whether you are one with the person, the two shall become one.
Yes.
Whether you are shareholders together in this entity.
Yes.
And when you stop being shareholders in this entity, you are now moving alone. And then when let me put it this way, when you stop seeing her as a shareholder, that's when you're disconnected.
Yeah, of course.
And when you stop seeing her as a shareholder, she was already in the backseat. She moved to the backseat of her own accord.
Yeah.
And you didn't force her to go to the backseat and sleep. You didn't. She was sitting next to you. Yeah. Then she unclipped the seatbelt.
Yeah.
And she moved to the backseat, assuming that you wouldn't mind and assuming that you will continue whether she's there or not. But you can't live on an assumption, because to assume makes an ass out of you and me. And once that happens, is me who's driving will realize I'm not the ass.
And a void that needs to be filled.
Exactly. And that void needs, like you said, it needs to be filled. That's why ships arise. It's not because you want something. It's you need something. I remember listening to myself at a podcast. Because a need arises.
Yes.
And everything is fed on needs.
Yeah.
And when you get to a level where we are at over 40, there's certain things that you no longer see as wants, you see as needs. All you want to have is a place of peace, a place of security, and a place where it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to detox and realize when you walk out, it's not going to be coming back to you to haunt you and make you feel like you're just some wimp. But they celebrate you being a wimp because tomorrow you're going to come out a victor. But not many people are pulling that mission.
No.
And there are those that are waiting
for you to be a wimp.
There are those that are waiting. He's going to fall and I'm going to be there. They're waiting. I was speaking to a friend of mine who was attending a service. And the pastor at the time was preaching and then pointed out to him, we'll call him Richard for now. He said to his wife, who call her Sue, Sue, you're married to Richard. You must know there is a Mary that is on the sidelines waiting as a super sub.
As a super sub?
Super sub, waiting for you to drop the ball.
So she's jogging by the car.
Exactly, super sub. They're jogging constantly. Constantly. Here's the deal. They're jogging constantly. They're jogging consistently.
So it's never out of sync.
It's never out of sync.
And on time and ready.
Ready. Because they can't wait to have you. They can't.
Yeah.
They can't. Constantly and consistently jogging up and down. And the guy said to Sue, yes, you fight with Richard. It's allowed. Because that's what makes your home a home. But the Bible says, don't let the sun set in your anger.
Yeah.
You can take it literally, you can take it inspirationally or metaphorically, as in do not let a situation go unresolved. Because if it goes unresolved, the sun has set on that.
Yeah.
And if it was unresolved in your anger, the vulnerability is there. And once the vulnerability is there, someone else is going to pick up on it. So he says, no, you can fight, but resolve it quickly because the super sub is going to notice that he's got a lack.
Yeah.
And pounce on that lack. And once they pounce on that lack, you then cease to be somebody who's moving with them, that to become one, you're no longer a shareholder in the mission that you want to achieve. You're not just upper management. You're just there to make sure that,
I would have tried to trash it up, but I think I shared an example like that in one of the podcasts.
You did?
Yeah. Boy meets girl, girl's got best friend girl.
There we go. Yes, and now
the girl was girl's friend was super sub.
Oh, super sub.
And now super sub is the main chick.
Is the main chick.
Yeah.
And there's always someone, but here's the deal. I need to say it now, because it's a guy show, to the women, to the spouses or the significant others. Do not assume that there's somebody who's lurching and walking around to grab your guy. Do not assume that, because you will never find them.
You think so?
You'll never find them. The ones that become the fourth ships.
Yeah.
You'll never find them. The first, second, third ships, those you find.
Yes.
Because those are the ones that are for the bling.
Yes.
But the ones that are dealing with the fourth ship that sails away, those you never find because your man and the fourth ship will meet somewhere unprepared, somewhere unrehearsed, by chance, but then they link. They have a common mindset. They have a common understanding of what they'd like to achieve. Because I think we said it in the prologue. They're coming with their shenanigans.
Yeah.
You've got your own baggage, but when you meet, you have a link up where when they share, you share, and you offload baggages to one another.
Yeah.
And that's what cements your fellowshipping. And that's what creates the intimacy.
Okay.
Are we together?
Yep. 100%.
So,
nice. I like how you put it across. It's all gibberish, but I like the way you put it across.
It's all gibberish.
No, I'm just kidding. Actually makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. I hope people can understand that, because the challenge that they have, and I think I'm fed up with a situation where somebody comes up and says, I didn't see this happening. I didn't know exactly where I stand. I don't know what or who I am or what's happening. And you have negated the simple fact of, have you met the need at that particular level for someone? If you don't, then you're going to be dropping down the corporate ladder, and then you're surprised. And I think what I do not like the most is, I'll use the word society here, has got preconceived answers to every solution.
Yes.
You must fit in this box.
Yes.
Yeah. No, this is our room. 1, 2. Garavana, stay for the kids. That sort of situation. Those sort of preconceived, sort of already presets. They're already presets for certain things.
Yeah.
But no one goes out to actually ask, why would you arrive at that situation so that you can solve the problem? It's funny. People who have been bestowed with that sort of authority, and unfortunately, because we're a Christian country, the pastors, the deacons, and everybody else, they're not equipped.
Nonsense.
No. I want to vouch for them. Sometimes they're not equipped with that. And it's not because of the worldly world that they don't know about, but purely taking it in the form of understanding.
That's why the word nonsense is coming from. We put so much on them, assuming that they are going to give you clarity.
And if you take a Christian point of view of it, is that you shouldn't bestow that onto a human.
You should, exactly. That's something nonsense.
Yeah. But they take that authority, like they can solve it.
They need to ride on it so that they keep you in the loop.
Exactly. It is a business after all.
Tell me about it.
I know one couple that had issues, and then they approached one of these deacons in the church and stuff. And the first thing that deacon said, "What? I saw you every Sunday. You're so cool, gentlemen. We envied you, the way you always were together. And we thought that this was solid." You're stuttering now. And they were seeking a solution. And all he did was just bring shock and disbelief. That couple never stayed together. They got divorced. Purely because when they reached out to those individuals, they couldn't see beyond, and I want to use this word carefully, their own nose at all. So they couldn't solve that problem at all.
Nothing about using carefully is the truth. There's certain things that, come on, Chris. This is a podcast. FedUp. We don't need to be politically correct. Come on. I think I started doing that. I think three recordings ago when I was trying to be politically correct. No, we're not here to be politically correct.
No, you'd only do it for 10 minutes in a podcast.
Yeah, we're here to just tune it as it is. Yeah, because some people just want to hear it as it is.
They're not schooled. They don't know.
What? These guys, they have no clue. Yeah. Because everything they do is, let's tend to, like that response, let's tend to the book of, and then?
And the interpretation is totally wrong.
Come on, man.
Why is it real life is not taken into consideration here? Why is it in fact, I picked up on something that's quite hectic, is that people love the thing of do as I say, not as I do.
Because...
And yet, you know that communication is 80% body language.
We tend to want to make... Because if you do as I say, I'm telling you something that should be, but it may not be practical, but when it works out, then they get the props.
Sounds like Hollywood.
Yeah, and what I've found quite annoying over these parts since we started doing the recordings, I've realized that being blunt works. Yeah, because you get rid of some of the stress that you're thinking of. You're like, come on, and you stop being the nice guy.
Yeah, let's not even say stop being the nice guy. Just you're the realest person there.
Yeah, you've got to be, because no, this doesn't work because of A, B, C, D.
That's it.
No, this doesn't work because of D, E, F. Yeah. But no.
Yeah, we're gonna waste our time going around this and say, no, stay for the kids. But the kids are getting more miserable seeing you guys probably fighting and getting into sort of situation.
And depending on the age of the kids.
Yeah, but still.
Pretty soon they're gonna leave.
Yes.
Yes. And if you really have a link with the kids can see hogwash. But anyway, while we're still there's something that I wrote down and said, every institution within itself has a mandate to ensure its survival. Every institution.
Yes, 100%.
So I said it has a mandate to ensure the survival, function, and edification of those that feed, maintain, and develop it. Every institution, I'll repeat that. Every institution within itself has a mandate to ensure the survival, function, and edification of those that feed, maintain, and develop it. Once it ceases to accommodate its own will walk away. Yeah, I had to write that down, boss. Its own will walk away.
There's no reason to stay.
There's no reason to stay. If people say, what do you mean by that? Have you ever noticed when people strike at a company?
Yes.
Or they're down tools, or they're going to go slow?
Yes.
It's because its own is not feeding it.
Yes.
And so you become irrelevant as a management grouping to those that are supposed to be, to those that are feeding you. You're supposed to edify them.
Yes.
So if you're always doing the most and being the best or nothing.
Yes.
and you're not being regarded for it,
Yeah.
it's fine. You can walk away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
I read somewhere before just to follow that through. If a boy is chasing a girl or a man is chasing a woman, and no matter if this woman is the most striking, beautiful person on this planet, if his attention to her is not reciprocated, he will walk away from her.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, that's the simplification of it all.
And it's true of the situation when management arises.
Yes.
Everybody, like I said, everybody wants to be managed. And I say that very bluntly. Everybody wants to be managed.
Yeah.
And why do you want to be managed? Because you cannot work and you cannot live on an island. You don't live on an island.
Yeah.
And there's always you always want somebody to concur with your way of thinking if it edifies a certain setup.
Yeah.
Everybody, you need somebody who's got your back and say, I'm with you. And they flow with you. When you fall and you get up, they're not going to help you up. What is it? The moment you get up, they'll help you shake off the dust and push you further. That's what everybody wants. But when you get to a situation where nobody's going to do it for you, you can drift and walk away.
You're looking for a place where you appreciate it.
It's not a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a problem. It is easier for me to get to your office. It's easier for me to go up Samar Mashal.
Yeah.
And then take a left up Leopold Takawira.
Yeah.
That's Moffat, isn't it?
Yep. He's old school.
Yeah. Go up Moffat. It's easier. Take a right into North, what's the Tongo Garana?
Mm-hmm.
And take a left on the Second Street extension. Mm-hmm. Go all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Then take a left up Argyle.
Mm-hmm.
Not Argyle, Aberdeen.
Yes.
And then take a left onto King George.
Uh-huh.
And then go down the new paved road.
Yes.
And then get to your office. Then go up Argyle.
Man.
And then take a left onto West.
Jeez.
And then it's easier. Why? Because the tarmac is smoother.
Yeah, so there's no hindrance.
I don't need to worry about this nasty road.
As opposed to taking the short road, which has got all the potholes that are
exactly.
Yeah.
Because I'm the one who's going to end up having to, if I continue doing it, to deal with my shocks, to deal with my ball joints.
Which is dealing with yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's easier for me to take the long route, which is smoother and easier, which is outside of the norm, but I get there comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a very good analogy.
Yeah, I'm not going to go all the way and just do all these potholes. And at the end of the day, I'm the one that's...
Yeah. It strives to the fact that your happiness is purely your own prerogative.
There we go.
Yeah. So if you're not seeking your own happiness, you're just going to be a nuisance to everybody else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if the car cannot be forced to suffer because I'm being impatient and arrogant and dropping the bag and the ball in maintaining it. Because a man is understood as being a good steward in relation to how he takes care of his gadgets. How a person maintains his gadgets or his car or whatever is an indication of how he values himself as somebody who's a steward.
People don't know that, eh?
No, I think
it's a direct reflection of who you are.
You've got that. You know
the way
I mean?
you dress, look, things that you take care of. It's a direct reflection of who you are.
Exactly, and it shows what you value. And in a relationship setup, how you are received and how you are maintained by your spouse or significant other will reveal to you how they value you.
Okay, so what, they'll pick on the parts where you are lagging and help you? Is that what you're saying?
When they do that, you honor them in the way they honor you.
Okay.
And so the shareholding is reciprocal.
Yeah.
Because when they do that to you, they're showing you, they're celebrating you, then you are inspired to do the more. You know, it's a reciprocal thing.
Yeah.
But when you realize that, no, this person is only harping on my flaws and where I failed, and they're not allowing me to be better, I can walk away and take the long route round. It's fine. I don't need you.
So those people that are hopping along, so low management, is that it, right? There's zero loyalty in that.
I won't say loyalty. They assume they know what they're doing, but they don't. Empty vessels make the most noise.
Oh my goodness, okay.
That's where they will be. And so every time you see them, just a whine and nag. So what you do is you just take care of the things that will keep them quiet.
That is so bluntly honest.
Yeah, you know, make sure there's food, make sure there's fuel, make sure there's power, make sure there's Wi-Fi, make sure there's...
And in case of their ship, it's just making sure that they got airtime.
That's it. If it's ship number one, that's it. But ship number one and lower management. Same WhatsApp
Yeah,
group.
same WhatsApp group.
Yeah. Yeah, same WhatsApp group in the way you relate to them and the way you deal with them. Because they're not that relevant to your emotional well-being.
they're
Remember
not.
when I mentioned that ship number 1 is purely transactional.
Yes.
And imagine she was once a shareholder. Now she's lower management.
And she's just transactional.
It's all just transactional.
Hi.
Yeah,
I
what's up?
need bread and milk.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. Oh, okay.
We pay school fees? Okay, cool.
Yeah, okay, fine.
That's
I need
it.
fuel in the car. Oh, okay.
That's it.
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah, you can say wow, but trust me, for those that are going to listen to this and they're going through they'll be
They
like,
know.
oh, snap.
Yeah, they know.
You know?
Yeah, and I like the fact you can break it down in that sort of simplicity because, like you say, a lot of people take a lot of things for granted.
Ooh, easily.
Yeah,
You know?
like
Easily.
there's assumption, like you said before, that they are still a shareholder purely because, and I'm going to say this bluntly, you said I should.
Yeah.
They got a marriage certificate,
That's it.
a piece of paper,
That's it.
yeah, and a ring on their finger,
There we go.
which are all very symbolic.
They're not. Thank you.
They're very symbolic.
Very symbolic.
Yeah, it's just a symbol.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
You
you,
know what I
got to
mean?
work and put the weight behind it.
That's it.
Then it
here's
becomes heavy.
Now, what happens is with most of the people that are really suffering, some of them are in. I won't say the dungeon or the trench, but they're in the. I'll use Christianese. They're in bondage because of spiritual and cultural values.
I'm bound to someone.
Yeah, I'm bound. You know, I am not aligned with someone. I am bound. And that's literally ship 1.
That sounds so sad.
Yeah, that's where it goes. And like with COVID now, a lot of things have dropped in terms of standard of living, in terms of income for most, not all, for most and some households.
Okay, a lot, bro. That's
Yeah,
just a blank.
things
a lot
have
of
just
them.
changed. So you begin to understand your value as an individual and how the people around you value you and how they view you. And so you begin to. That's how you begin to notice the management level of the person that you're with and the management level which they treat you at.
Okay.
Because it happens concurrently. Any situation is concurrent. You see how they value you, and you see how you value them.
Yeah.
It's like that. So ship number 1 and lower management, exactly the same thing. It's just transactional. Ship number 2 is middle management, where look,
There's a level of commitment.
there's a level of commitment. You know, when they're good times, they're good times. When they're not good times,
don't
it's
see
okay.
them.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. They're there when everything is okay.
Yeah.
They're there when the money comes in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you go out for the parties and
Yeah.
the groceries are bought in the house.
Yeah, like you said, they
You
dress
know,
up for you. Yeah.
Yeah, they dress up for you, you know, on a regular.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, inspiration and celebration. Look, it's just there. Lethargic. It's just there. You know, that's middle management for you. And when you notice when she was in shareholding and then she's now in middle management,
Yeah.
you no longer invested in them.
No,
like,
there's no investment there.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just,
just there. It's just there. There's more smiling and there's more, hey, how you doing?
A bit more time together.
Yeah, a bit more, but it's not, it's very mental.
It's almost like you find with most middle management. They're the ones who move the most.
There we go.
They're the ones who move the most in companies and corporations. Yeah.
They look busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
But
middle
there's
management
nothing
looks
happening.
busy. Yeah, nothing's happening. They just-
So it's always keeping up for the Joneses, the appearances
That's
and
it.
stuff.
Oh, yeah, the screensavers.
Yeah.
That's it.
So they'll come up and they'll be like, yeah, this is what we do. Yeah.
That's it. And that's ship number 2.
Yeah.
Ship number 3 is upper management.
And there's more commitment there.
There's more commitment,
they
you know.
could go, but they're really
Yeah.
long-termish.
There we go.
Yeah.
Long-term. That is where you bring in chilling for the kids. So, you know, let's like you were saying, the ones that went to see a deacon.
Yeah.
And they're like, but you guys were like, you know,
Yeah.
picture perfect.
Yeah.
Those are the ones. That's, you know, because we said third ship is the one that does the dinners and goes to corporate functions and
Yes.
dresses up. You know, it's still there. You know, you just do the smile.
And you spend a lot more time together.
Spend a lot more time because it's now more. It's
There's
transactional is still there.
Yeah.
It's more. Is a whole lot more mental.
Yeah.
Very small percentage of emotional. Very.
You think?
Not enough to change a mindset.
I thought they'll be the ones that could either go up or down. So there's a lot more investment in that.
There's a lot.
They're keen for promotion to shareholder.
They are keen for promotion.
Yeah.
They are keen,
Yeah.
but they're not there yet.
Okay.
There's just certain things that they have not revealed of themselves
So how do they manage you at that level?
Being managed at top management level is the level that
I think they cook for you.
no, those are the ones that cook for you. Those are the ones that when you do rock home late, those are the ones that will say, "Oh, you're here," and put the food in the microwave and make sure you eat. But you're still not in a place of vulnerability.
Okay. Also,
There's still a lot of things that you keep within yourself because you're not too sure you can trust what they will do or say once you've revealed yourself.
okay.
Yeah. We've now moved from a mental and a logical perspective to one which is very, am I safe?
Yeah.
Can I drop my bag
Yeah.
in front of this person?
Yes.
If we're going to start doing the emotional stuff, can I cry in front of this person without them thinking that I'm a wuss?
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Why is that? Why is that such a big issue? They
What?
say crying in front of someone, showing your vulnerability.
Crying, other than a response to pain, crying is a release of pent-up tension.
Yes.
Everybody in any sense or form has to have a release. On an erotic level, there has to be a release. Otherwise, there's no satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
On a mental level, there has to be that celebration of got it. That's why you find when you guys that watch soccer, when your team scores.
Liverpool won 4-0 yesterday. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Amazing football team. Shout out to Liverpool. Sponsorship, yes.
Oh, okay. So I was trying to figure out what he's talking about. Oh, I remember Liverpool with Kenny Dalglish and Ian Rush.
Now we know how old he is.
Oh, now you know how old I was when I was being forced to watch it by my dad.
No, how old you are now.
You know. When those guys score,
the elation, yes.
Yeah. It's a release of the pent up.
Yes, all
elation.
that work that I've done.
Yeah,
this is the celebration.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
When you're in intense sorrow, intense pain, you have to cry.
Okay.
You have to cry.
So it's seen as a weakness.
Now, when you cry in intense pain, intense sorrow, that is when the real you comes out.
Okay.
The real individual comes out. Because when you cry, when you really cry, it's not just the tears. There's a snot that comes out.
Yeah.
And this,
And I know a lot of men do that in private. Keep it private.
yeah. But if you find that one person that
You can do that.
you can do that in front of,
Yeah.
and then they give you the tissue and you blow your nose,
And they don't betray you.
There we go. And they don't betray, and they don't hold it against you.
Yes.
That the eyes and that time you're crying because,
Yes.
and they don't do that.
A lot of women don't realize, that's why I said it's a guy show, so we'll speak on the men's side.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily tears sometimes. There's a vulnerability that a man could come home and say, it's been a tough day. I didn't get what I thought I'd get. And those are tears. Like I saw something that said, if you ask a man, how are you doing? And he goes and says, I'm all right. That man is struggling immensely.
Crushing.
Yeah, he's crushed. Totally.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then, but you don't get a sort of management which will manage that situation so that you get the best out of it. Him showing that he wants to be vulnerable to you is actually a plus.
It is.
It means there's an application for us to move to shareholding.
No.
Isn't it?
No.
Isn't it?
No,
how you respond will show me.
application.
No way. It'll show me how you are. Because if I show you my vulnerable side and you mistreat
here's the deal. Here's the deal. Remember I mentioned it earlier that the levels of management work concurrently. It's you seeing how they are to you and how you are to them.
Yeah.
When you cry in front of her,
you're showing them.
She's already in shareholding within you.
Okay.
There's no application, boss.
Oh, okay, so being able to say you can do that means she's in shareholding.
She's already in shareholding.
Oh, okay. All right.
When he stops
crying in front of you,
you're no longer a shareholder.
You don't care. You're right, actually.
You're no
you're right. He becomes indifferent.
Yeah, you're no longer a shareholder.
That's the scariest part.
When you push his buttons and he doesn't react, you're no longer a shareholder.
Yeah, little low management person.
Yeah, you just third management. You're middle management. I mean top management. You're the one that's going to the dinners and going to the family brides.
It's okay.
It's okay.
But I'm not going to be vulnerable in front of you.
No.
sound indifferent.
I wasn't ready for that. Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
And once you cry, or once you let them know you cried, and then they say, "Oh, really? You did?" Then they know they're in shareholding. And there's something that you said once, and I heard it this past week, and it's something you shared with us past week, where they are miles ahead of us.
Yes, they are.
And sometimes they know how to make themselves become shareholders before you do.
So essentially, they fail themselves.
There we go. So within themselves, they know how to promote themselves to shareholders.
100%.
And then they know when they have dropped themselves. Now, unfortunately, because look, not everybody's like Solomon, who had 300.
It's mad that
Yeah,
it's totally insane.
Not everybody's like that, you know. We all think we can, but
No.
ideally, there's always that one significant. That's why it's the two shall become one. They know those that were shareholders that are reduced to upper management,
They
that
know.
become the third ships from being a fourth ships. When they've been demoted, they know. And when they begin to want to fight to get back to shareholding, they know that they've been dethroned. They know. Because the one that's on the fourth ship and the one that's in shareholding knows that they're there.
Yeah.
And they will make sure they don't go because they're enjoying the benefits, not the monetary ones.
No.
They're enjoying the emotional and the mental ones because you're now at a place where you're on a common page.
It all sounds very mechanical. Where's happiness in all of this?
Happiness is an attribute of being well managed.
Okay, so happiness, according to you, shareholding is the most happiest, and then lower management is not so happy.
Yeah, I know. No, lower management, you are happy.
No.
Middle management,
Be happy, like
you
flowers.
You are.
No.
Middle management, you are gay, not a homosexual. We're using proper English words. You're gay, you know. You just, you know. Or let me put it this way: lower management, everything is pleasant. Middle management, gay. There's a lot of gaiety, you know. There's just you know, yeah, we cool. Upper management, you're happy. Shareholding, you are joyful.
Okay.
Because joyful is a place of being. Happiness is a place of, it's just a flyby. You cannot always be happy, but you can always be joyful. Even in your pressure and under pain, you can always be joyful.
Okay, that just sounds like scripture right there.
No, well, I don't know. I'm trying to put it in such a way that people understand there's a difference between joy and happiness.
Okay.
Because joy is perpetual. Happiness is something that you can switch on and switch off depending on the immediate environment. But being joyful, you're always looking forward. My definition of forever,
my God.
you're always looking forward. My definition that we took of love and assurance of affection, being assured of something, you're joyful of going to tomorrow because you've messed up today, but you're sure that tomorrow there's another platform in which to express your positive attitude. That's where shareholding resides.
You know, you're doing so well. I was really, really proud of you today. You're doing so well. I mean, then you had to bring in this whole perpetual thing of yours.
Yeah, because you're the one that loves this whole finality stuff.
It is true.
Finality.
It is true.
Finality is when you have dropped from shareholding to lower management. That's finality. Because you
Remember I told you that it was the male perspective that has always got a finality to it. We're set up by goals that we have to achieve. And if these goals are set by someone who's got a perpetual view, we're always going to be happy.
Look, that's why I want to differentiate between happy and joyful.
I'll use your word. You always be joyful.
Always be joyful.
We'll always be joyful.
Always
Yes,
joyful.
because he's got a perpetual view.
Dramas are going to be there, but you'll always say, you know what?
I'm good.
I'm in shareholding, bruh.
Yes.
In shareholding.
You know, that's actually true in real life.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'm in
No, company's not
shareholding,
making
bruh.
any money. No, but I'm a shareholder.
I'm a
okay.
shareholder. I'm okay. But no, can't you see what they're doing? Yeah, but I'm a shareholder. It's okay. What do people like saying these days? I'm a shareholder, boss.
Actually, management looks at shareholders totally differently.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
They call them arungu.
Why are they called? Okay, for those that don't understand the vernacular, when somebody says kutu urumurungu, when we were colonized by Caucasians. And so everything that was seen as better, everything that was seen as organized, everything that was seen as fruitful, everything that was seen as prosperous was aligned to Caucasians. And so when you are seen as being organized, as being successful, it's not a matter of monetary rewards or monetary evidence, but just seen as being, yourself. You're seen as murungu. So I just
you should bring joy to people.
When you bring joy to people, you are the boss. You are the man. And that's how it is. And shareholders do that. They just present themselves as, I got this. And what they end up doing, it's no longer of, I got this, but I got you.
Yeah, okay, that's deep.
And if somebody says, I got you, boss, and we say, I got you like the song, but I've got you. It's not a phrase of possession.
I got you, babe.
Yeah, it's not good. I've got you, and they don't want to let you go. But it's I've got you to make sure that I'm going to make you a better version of yourself. I know the dramas you've been through.
So there's a reward system in all this, isn't it?
Because of inspiration and celebration.
So there's a reward system.
Always. But the reward system is vice versa.
At shareholder.
At shareholder.
Yeah, not at the other ones.
No. The other ones, no. The other ones, there's only one person getting the rewards. There's always one person who's always working. So yeah, there's always, bro, always.
It's so true. There's always one person working and one person who's gaining.
All the time.
And let's get to shareholder.
And I need everybody to understand this. Just sit down and look at all the ships that are around you.
That's why I said I was managed.
Yeah, no, you were managed, boss. Yeah, because now, regardless of the shenanigans, somebody just said, I got you.
It's not shareholding.
Yeah. No, I got you.
It's managed.
But they're planning on it. They're saying, I got you. And when someone says, I got you,
they've got you.
They've got you. They can do whatever. You can find text on the phone. You can see other people discussing with them, and all insecurities
fall away.
All insecurities fall away. They present you and put you in their personal space where you see they've deliberately made an action to be vulnerable to you in response to all the work you did to be vulnerable to them. Then you're shareholding.
Great. I'm going to take you back to how we started this as well. And one of the things we talked about is that you have to be in a certain situation to get to arrive at a destination where you now know yourself and know what you're looking for and what you want. So how do young men out there quickly get to a point where they can get shareholding? For me, I think it's a matter of maturity, because at a certain age, I don't think a lot of them understand what's going on with them. That they actually have to go through all these other ridiculous management sort of places so that they get knowledge or wisdom, to use your word, so that when they do arrive to find the proverbial one, they know what it means when somebody says, I've got you. I don't think it happens first time round, because first time round, you are searching, you're looking, you got certain values and nuances that you think are important for you, but you're still discovering yourself as well. So you have to go to a point where you actually know yourself first before you can actually say that you want to know of someone else.
Sorry, I'm not looking at messages. I'm going through the dictionary. Mature, based on slow, careful consideration. I'll say that again.
Yeah.
Based on slow, careful consideration. What we have been fine-tuned in by society.
Not time, but the society.
What we have been fine-tuned in by society is at a certain level of how many days you have seen the sun, you must have achieved this. And when you've reached another level of how many days you have seen the sun, you should have achieved this. And so what it has done, it has eroded your ability to take slow consideration of yourself. So you're always on a run to keep you in the loop all the time. Let's use our setup here in this nation, and we'll also combine it with what we've experienced in our growing up. 0 to 6, we didn't have this ECD nonsense going on. For us, it was just nursery school, crash, grade 1, grade 2. You should be able to articulate yourself. All the way to grade 7, you write your grade 7 exams, and you go to high school. Then Form 2, we did ZJC, so we're doing certificate. They don't do that anymore. So it was a
they
way
don't do that anymore?
No, they don't do ZJC. Oh, exactly. My shock and horror when I found out. They don't do that anymore. So that's ZJC. And like, okay, then we did our O level. Yo, guy, we're writing our O's.
Yeah.
And we never had the thought in our time that you could stop school and start looking for a hustle. It was never in our mindset when we're doing our O's. But what was there is, you're 16 now, you can get your license.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You get your ID.
Yeah.
You can get your passport.
Yeah.
And then you do your A's.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're 18. You do varsity or you do some course. You know, then you're getting a job. Once you get your job and or varsity, that's what 2021. Okay, you must get a job. Thereafter, hey, so are you going to get married? Okay.
Yeah.
So when are you getting married? All right. Okay. The moment you get married, hey, so when the kids coming on?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so when are you going to get a house?
Yeah.
So everything is always keeping you moving.
Yeah.
And it's difficult for you to take time to take a slow, careful consideration of self.
Yeah.
And when the penny does drop, there's no shareholding.
Yeah.
You know, there's no shareholding. So my take on what you've just said, these youngsters that are there, do the most to be the most. But at the same token, like what we discussed about 2-3 recordings ago, you have to have a place and time where you can just take time and just chill. For you and I, it's easy to do that chill when you're driving. Some go to the gym. Some take a walk.
Yeah.
Some take a jog.
Some drink.
But unfortunately, drinking doesn't clear the mind. It doesn't. It
They
just
might give
grunts
you
certain
a
things.
point about.
Yeah, I hear it. There's some. You know what? Actually, I lie. There's some places where I won't say some places. Some places that I did visit, where there are those that partake of the fermented beverage. Have you been there? Club, pub.
Once.
Shucks, you need to live a bit more, man.
I've lived more than you.
Oh, that's another podcast there.
100%.
So,
what did somebody say to me this week? It's you, the quiet, silent ones.
oh, silent assassins.
You're the most dangerous in the world.
I can concur with that. I tell you, the silent ones are the dangerous ones.
They don't see you coming.
Right? You don't see them. Yeah, you don't see them coming, but all of a sudden,
Bam! Public enemy number 1.
Or you don't see them. Fourth ship. You have no clue. So when did this happen?
And how did this happen? But I got a question of that. It's I think people don't listen. People send out enough flags out there for someone to say,
Okay, I'll talk about that just now. Now I digress. Where was I?
you were lost.
I was going somewhere. Man. Shucks, I lost my train of thought.
It'll come back once you start talking again.
Yeah, snap, man. Where was I? I lost it. It'll come back later. We're talking about silent assassins. About I was talking about pubs, and you're talking about alcohol and how you said some people find beer. What I found out is, I mean, I've been around pubs and clubs and what have you. Sometimes it's not about what you drink, or what the quantity is.
What?
But it's the environment that you're in.
Yeah, that's what it brings.
Yeah, that's what it brings.
People go for the atmosphere.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And that, so some people find it as an escape because it's better to be there. And it's not the noise that gets you.
No.
It's just, I'm free.
Yeah.
You know?
I wish there was a video for that.
I'm free. And then there's guys like you and I, when you're driving, it's, sure, I'm free.
Yeah.
You know, I'm reminded of Fast and Furious, where one of the at the end of one of the movies, the character played by Vin Diesel, he's driving and goes, you know what? I live a quarter mile at a time, and it's that in that quarter mile, that 12 to 13 seconds, where I'm totally free. Everybody needs to have that place. So for those that you will be asking, but you guys have lived a life. How am I supposed to find that place or meet that person and make the right choice and not fall into a trap? You've got to find a time and place where you can. You know what I used to do when I was a kid? We stayed in a neighborhood where we're near a main road. It was a quiet neighborhood, but we're near a main road. I would get on my bike. I had a red BMX Bundu bike, you know, and I'd ride to the main road, and there's a traffic light near the main road. It was like at a peak of it was at a crest, and I'll just sit on my bike and just watch cars.
So watch the world go by.
Just watch cars. My parents would think I'll be riding around the whole of Harare. No, I just ride. It's like a K away, and I'll just chill and just look at cars. For me, it was just downtown. I didn't know at the time the effect it had on me, but it allowed me to just chill. And then it was then easier for me to get into music. It was easier for me to draw. It was easier for me to choreograph. It was easier for me to be artistic in that season of my life. And everybody needs to get to a place where they can just find something that they can do that allows them to just regroup. But we're not given the time. Now, all the more so COVID, and it's, you know, what do you have? What phone are you using? What are you wearing? You know, you're not given that time, but you just need the time. Maturity, slow, careful consideration of everything that you do.
Based on that,
yeah,
answering that young man who probably asked the question, what do they do? They should explore the world until they're like 35.
That can work.
Don't get married before then. You don't know yourself in your 20s.
I would
no
love,
matter how fast the world is going right now.
I would love to concur with you.
Yep. Hear me out.
No, I'm saying I would love to concur with you.
Yeah, but
let me rephrase it.
There's a but coming.
I'll concur with you.
Okay, cool.
For the next like 5 minutes.
We don't. I remember how we coined the 40. When you turn 40, it's not a crisis; it's an awakening. You become aware of certain things.
I hear you.
So, using your maturity definition, slow, considerate,
careful consideration. Yeah.
Yes, that comes with time. Yeah,
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So there's a lot of noise, and I want somebody once said to me, "What happens in your 20s and 30s and 40s?" And I said, "In your 20s, you are invincible. There's nothing you can't do. You can sleep for an hour in a day, and tomorrow you're back at work, chirpy, running." Remember how you used to do that? You'd party all weekend, and you still be back at work. You actually party during the week, but you'll be back at work the next day, and you pull the 8-hour shift as you're going along. You would be ready for any adventure at the drop of a hat. You'd be like, "Hey, we're in Kariba right now. Let's go." And this is 5 p.m. on a Friday, but you're driving out there. In your 20s, you're invincible. When you're invincible, you don't look with clarity. You are just a sledgehammer who's going to be smashing through everything that you have there. That in itself tells you there's not been careful consideration in what you're doing.
I hear where you're coming
from. In your 30s, you narrow that down now. You really do, because apparently, I might be wrong, the scientists can tell me, when you hit 30, your body stops growing. You start dying, literally. No more new teeth. If your bones break, it's going to take a lot longer to heal. You start dying. So you start realizing and you start bringing things into focus and to perspective. That's where you start seeing things. And you go like a couple of things that you're pretty good at, but you're now zoning on what you're really expert at. And you only arrive at that when you hit your 40s. In your 40s, you stop taking BS all around you. You're very clear about what you want to do. Even the way you attract women or opposite sex is different. It is precise. It is lethal. It is by far the most devastating moves you can play. And if you don't take this for granted, ask any of these women in their 20s, 30s, which are the most dangerous men that they've met. It's those guys who are assured, who know who they are. And you reach that when you're taking care of all this nonsense and you start hitting 40. That's what I thought. That's why I thought that kids who get married early in their 20s have got a misconception about where they want to be because they are still growing. And by growing, I think is exploring your mind, expanding into what the things you like, hobbies, likes, dislikes. It's too quick for you to, and I'll use this word carefully, tie it down in marriage, where you settle down in marriage. Because marriage itself is an institution that actually demands a lot of maturity for it to actually be successful and to actually move forward because you put work into it. In your visibility 20s, you don't put work.
I hear exactly what you're saying. I agree with exactly what you're saying. I'm now thinking of the phrase that you used, tie down and settle down, and everything is so, I'm not going to use the word derogatory, but it already when you use the word tie down and settle down, there's a lot of pessimism in terms of your joy tomorrow.
Those are not my words. Those are the words.
No, I'm using you because you're my representative of society.
True, but that's what the word says.
That's what exactly.
Yeah.
And so what happens is when you're in that situation, tied down already, you're like dramas. That's when you ideally need a shareholder.
You're not mature enough for it.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When you're in a setup like that, that's when you need a shareholder.
Right. Yes.
You have to have a shareholder.
Yes.
You can't, there's no time to
have lower management,
middle management, or upper management.
Yes.
You can't, they cannot think of the end game.
Yes.
They will support the current, but they will not understand the end game.
Yes.
So you need somebody who will be with you to understand the end game, not the current. I remember you asked me, I forget which one we were talking about, and you said, what would I tell youngsters, the ugly truth? And I'll tell them that, I'll tell the lady, look, you're seeing him as who he is going to be.
Yes.
And to the guy, you're seeing her as who she is now.
Yes.
Within that, they have to understand that within that, their shareholding protocols and their shareholding portfolios, they have to work on the future end game of how he should be and how she is now. How she is now is the person that makes him laugh, the person where he finds peace, the person where he finds rest, the person where he's easy to be vulnerable to, and the person who will inspire and celebrate him. She will see him as a person who will get her to be what she aspires to become, where she will want to stay, where she will want to relocate to, and they work hand in glove in that. But in their youth, and they're failing to understand, and they're not told the real shit, they get to a point where somebody begins to drop the ball. But because it's a man's world,
they don't want to say that though.
Yeah, he's always driving, so there's no way he is allowed to drop the ball. He will drive. But now the speed at which he's going to drive at is going to be determined by how he's feeling the support system. Hence why the trip to Cape Town, that the new co-pilot gives you sense and urgency, celebration, inspiration to push the envelope and go faster and achieve more and accomplish more. But then the one who's gone to the back, whenever they were talking, they want you to look in the rearview mirror or to turn your head to see what's going on. So he can't do 200 Ks an hour.
No, he can't.
He has to slow down.
So growth is stunted, yes.
What did you say? Or in Shona, what? And you always turn your head when you say that. So you got to slow down.
Yeah.
And a guy gets frustrated that he's slowing down.
Yeah.
You are slowing him down.
Yeah.
And in life, what do you mean you're being slowed down? You're wasting my time. You know, you're wasting my.
So people who find themselves in that sort of situation, that sort of point, and they've gone through 10 or so odd sort of years.
Drop the bag.
Surely in the beginning, they had done it in a point in a position where there was no clear understanding that both of you are shareholders.
I think there was an understanding that there was shareholding, but remember there was a time, the day when you're wearing shorts, when you're pissed off. No, this was before you came with the medicinal apple.
Today I'm Lazarus. Okay?
Remember when you're pissed off at that time? Remember that time?
Yes, I do.
You're pissed off because you were not what? You had not had a collective definition.
Yes.
Yeah. You need to get to a point where you have a collective definition. Ergo, you need to have a place where you communicate effectively at that moment in time.
Sounds like maturity right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you need to get there. And when you speak to these youngsters, you need to tell them, hey, get all your stuff on the table. Put all your cards on the table.
They still can't handle the truth.
Like that movie.
Yes.
Yeah, but they have
can't.
to.
At that age, they can't. That's why I said to me, those young men out there, get married in your 30s.
It's advisable.
No,
but nobody's going to
it's a
listen to
fact.
them.
You ask me about the
but
brutal
nobody's gonna
truth.
Listen.
That's the brutal truth.
Yeah, but nobody's going to listen to that. So what you say in the meantime, Chris, you say, hey, you tell them, put all your shit on the table, all your cards on the table,
All your baggage.
all your baggage on the table now,
And see who
to
stays.
each other. And,
See who stays.
yeah, if they go, they go. Then you can just go jump off a cliff.
Yeah, and stop crying for these people that are not supposed to be with you.
Man,
Because we wasted this time, huh?
that's what people don't understand.
Yeah, we bring communities together.
When we waste each other's time, people are like, so what was I doing?
Yeah. And
You know?
who digging? I don't love you.
So what happens is when the fourth ship rocks up,
Yes.
they've also come from those shenanigans.
Absolutely.
And you've got your shenanigans.
Yes, and they
when
understand.
when you meet and you start sharing stories,
And they understand.
They have what you're doing subconsciously and subliminally is you're putting your cards on the table.
And everything is open.
Everything is open. And once everything is open,
That ship sells
you are managed, boss.
on a shareholder
On
level.
a shareholding level.
That's it. That's a wrap.
I was not here today. He said it has to be HTC. Then he said it's iPhone. Then
So much is minus. We're good to go. Where are minus?
I'm just fed up.